Yo, what's up, guys? So I'm back with another. I don't know what this series is, but this is another video. I'm just getting a creative download. So this video I wanted to talk about how the entire social hierarchy works in the make money online space and really how to get your power back in this space. Because in October 2022, I had this deep realization of the difference between we'll break it down exactly what I'm about to talk about. But I had this realization, which is what this video is, and pretty shortly after, I kind of just took my power back in terms of who I was working for, what courses I was offering, just everything, right? And so what I wanted to break down was that in this video, and then I wanted to just kind of explain a little bit about like how this whole industry works and specifically how the social hierarchy works in this whole make money online space. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with the core concept that, people are not better than you, they're just better known than you. And so what I mean by that is really just like, no one is better than you in this game. That's the reality. No one is better than you. They maybe just have other skills, or they're maybe just really just better known than you. And that's why you kind of listen to them, is because they're better known than you. And specifically, it's the perceptive gap, right? And so all the money in this game is made in that perceptive gap. So like, for example, let's say you are, I don't know, let's say you're some service provider, you do media buying or something, and there's another person who does what you do but at a way higher level. That is a perceptive gap. You perceive them as having a gap, because you're not going to hire someone. Let's say you're doing 10K per month. Let's say you're not going to hire someone also doing 10K per month to teach you how to do some other thing that they haven't done. You know what I mean? It's very simple. There's a perceptive gap of like, let's say you're at 10K per month and you want to be at 100K per month, and this person's doing 100K per month and doing exactly your skill, your trade, your thing. You're definitely going to listen to them, and you're going to want to hire them. And because they have that perceptive gap, they can make good money from teaching people like you or others how to do what they do, right? And so that's what the perceptive gap is, and all the money is made in that perceptive gap. And there's two games that people play to create that gap, right? And as soon as I realized this, my brain literally like just broke, and I hope it does the same for you. But there's two games that people play. People play the who game, and then people play the what game, essentially who they know versus what they know, okay? And so when it comes to who they know, it's really just all about, how am I perceived? Who am I associated with? And the who game plays all these things, right? It's really focused on status, okay? And so the who game is like who is who in this game of marketing online money, and where are they? Who sits at their table? Who are they associated with? If you can increase that perceptive gap of like, I know all these other people and their network, and the who game is really focused on association, and it's controlling the environment and controlling the association. If you can increase that perceptive gap, then you have, value in the eyes of the marketplace, because you're more seen as a who in the space. And again, they're not better than you necessarily. They're just better known than you, right? Maybe they do even the same skill set as you. Maybe they're also a copywriter. Maybe they're also a YouTube creator, but they're just better known at doing that thing because they've played this sort of who game, right? And so when you realize this, you realize that you have a lot of power, especially if you are someone who's playing the what game. And the what game is really all about information and skills. Now, they're not always known. They're always not always that known, which is why they're not seen as valuable, as much more valuable than people with the who. But they do have a certain level of skill set and a certain level of information that they provide to the marketplace. And so this is the people who play this what game really well are really focused on controlling the knowledge and information. And that's kind of how they have their competitive edge, is because they have information, they have key knowledge. And a lot of the people who are on this side of the fence will definitely want to hire these guys if they are only focused on the who game and not focused on what they know and the actual skills, the hard skills that make them valuable to the marketplace. If they stop focusing on this, which a lot of them do because they realize that the who game is pretty lucrative, then they tend to want to listen to these people secretly, right? And so the Who game is really focused on like, the problem with the Who game is that they don't really have many real core lasting relationships or real core lasting friendships, because if you're not useful in their world, then you're not really at that table. You're not really in their circle necessarily, right? So they're leveraging lifestyle and they're leveraging what they own and how they show what they own. For example, Grant Cardone owns a jet and he kind of flexes that a lot, right? And because of that, it's much harder for the person who's been on a jet to like kind of compete in that status game of like, okay, well, he has a jet, you know what I mean? So that's what they focus on. It's focusing on appearances, who they know, their network, and all that stuff versus what they actually do for the marketplace and their actual skills that they provide, that they're, the knowledge that they have, right? And so that's the who versus the what game. And what I wanted to break down a little bit further, which is what I did earlier. And ideally, you want to be somewhere in the middle, like on this line, right? Ideally, you also want to be known and seen for what you do, but you also want to have actual skills that people are willing to pay for, right? And so you want to be somewhere in the middle. So what I drew earlier was like how the hierarchy of this whole thing works, right? So it initially kind of starts off with like maybe 3 or 4 people in the marketplace or a new industry or something like this, with their one hair. It usually kind of starts out with like this, 3 people in here, and they have a certain level of skills and knowledge about the marketplace. This is the marketplace, and they're able to gain access to resources through their skills and their knowledge. And soon they start sharing that skills and knowledge with each other, and they realize that they can teach this to other people and get paid for teaching this to other people. Essentially, that's what they have. They can teach the skills and the knowledge of how they did what they did to get access to resources in the marketplace to other people who also want to get access to resources in the marketplace. And eventually those people, these people teaches a handful, a cohort or something, and they start sharing skills and knowledge, and they begin to get access to, resources in the marketplace. And eventually they are able to work with these people and provide them services and value and be of useful to these people, and then be able to associate themselves with this person right here, right? And so soon they get associated with that and they start playing the Who game. But when you realize that if they're only playing the Who game and they don't have actual skills and knowledge, and you're the one who's learned the skills and knowledge that they taught to then service them and then to also get access to resources in the marketplace, then you soon realize that, let's say this is you, like the copywriter who's providing services to this guy who is only playing the Who game and doesn't really know many of the skills, then you realize that they're not better than you. They're just better known, and so they're able to get more access to resources. So soon you're able to realize that like you're the one with all the skills, you're the one with all the knowledge, and they're just better known than you. So all you have to do is just kind of like, you can take your skills and your knowledge to the marketplace, also become better known, and then you can, get access to the same level of resources. You don't need a middleman in terms of that level of resourcefulness, right? So that was where my brain broke a little bit. I kind of realized that like a lot of these guys I'm working with, and even a lot of these guys that I even looked up to for a while, were really literally just playing this sort of like this who's who game and didn't really have any actual value or skills that I spent years learning in terms of copywriting, marketing, and sales and all that. They didn't have any like actual skills to provide to the marketplace that I did, that I just spent like, years of my life learning. And when I realized that, I was like, do I really need to ask these people for money anymore? Like I kind of just stopped asking them for money. And of course, I still take on clients. I still like to provide my service as like an actual service, like copywriting and all that. But I soon realized that I could just go straight to the market and, get access to resources myself with the skills that I know. They're not better than me. They're just better known than me. And so as soon as I realized that, then this whole charade, this whole like the man behind the curtain kind of, I sort of saw behind the curtain really in this game. And so I think that's kind of something that a lot of people overlook, is they're so fixated on like the status game and like who's who and, when am I going to join this? when am I going to join the team represent, run club thing so I could be around like these correct people. It's so kind of silly when you really focus on like the actual skills of what you actually know and how to provide value to the marketplace. And then you can wrap this stuff into it, of course. But like only focusing on this is what so many people online do, and that's how this whole social hierarchy works. Is really basically only this who's who game, And so when you can kind of like see through that matrix, then it gives you a lot of power as like a service provider or someone in this industry in the online money world to go out and get resources for yourself and to not necessarily just to see through the bullshit, right? Just to see through the sort of gurus that have played the who game and are only playing the who game, right? When you know your power and you know your skills, you're able to kind of hold your cards on the table a little bit stronger. So that's all I have for you guys. Kind of a quick one, really just how this whole hierarchy works. Just wanted to give you a brief overview of it. Not super in depth on this. Of course, there's a lot more nuance to a lot of this stuff. But I hope that helped you get some clarity and maybe broke your brain a little bit in terms of really just realizing no one's better than you. They're just better known than you. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys, and we will chat soon.